Good afternoon, this is Jim Whitehead of All Power Group, also known as All Power. That is actually the name of my generator company, solar company, and I'll get and explain some things like that better related to that. Okay, bottom line, my wife Myra, we lived in Davie, Florida, and we had for quite a while, and we had a 4,000 square foot home. We also had a separate building. So when I decided and had sold one of my generator businesses in December 8th of 2022, it was where, I started a YouTube channel in 2007, used it more for helping people come up with ideas and what size generators they might want to put on their home and how it works and what we have to do. So it was more of a informational, but I didn't really have very much time to actually do the work and have fun and enjoy content creation. I knew when I got old enough, and I am now, I'm 74, that I would be doing it basically full time. So I started full time in Davie, started the channel I think at approximately March 1st, 2023, and we started and we put our home up for sale a month and a half earlier, and we really thought we were going to sell it pretty quickly. Guess what? We didn't. We knew that with moving that we'd end up needing, if we bought a much smaller home, we would need and had planned to put a building in the back of our property that would be built as a studio and also my office. We ended up selling the home in June of 2023. We found a home, this home, just a little bit before that. We found that it worked well, and we ended up purchasing this home. We moved here July 15th. I had to take all my channel studio equipment down and pack it up, and we said, well, we knew we were going to do a building, so as soon as we got here, I had the permits submitted by the end of July. And some would say, well, I even had some people say, you're in the back, you're kind of out in the boonies a little bit, it's not going to make any difference if you have a permit or not. Well, being in the generator business and solar business for 20 years, I know that you don't do permitting or do jobs without permitting. So we submitted the permitting July 31st, so I got them in 2 weeks. I used to do all my own permitting with the generator business. Back then when I started in 2005, didn't know what I was doing, but also knew that if I didn't really learn most of the business, all the business actually, and also do my own permitting, I would not stay in business. So for years I did my own permitting. I was a gas contractor where I did the propane, natural gas, sometimes diesel, and then I had an electrician. We worked together, and we worked together for quite a long time, did a lot of generators over in the Broward County, Dade County, Palm Beach County area. So when we came over here, again, as I said, we knew that we were going to put a building. So we bought a building from a company in Orlando. It was to be built, and the size is 28 feet by 14 feet. And that was kind of a shot in the dark. We didn't know if that was going to be too big, too small. But it seems like, and you'll see some of the funny things with this job, you do your best, and sometimes it's right, sometimes it's not. So anyway, the first picture you're going to see is the building It came on a big trailer from Orlando, and it's very interesting how they can bring a building with windows and you name it over such a long ride, and in some cases the roads are probably not the best in the world. So here we're looking at the building, we're looking at the trailer, and we're saying, how the heck are you going to get that off that trailer into down the side yard, around the backyard, and down into where we had put the slab in. Now again, back to the permitting for a minute. We picked up the permitting in August 24th, and you might think it's easy to get a concrete company just to come and build a slab. I mean, per plan, I don't mean they just throw it on the ground. But we really didn't stop pouring the slab, even though we had the permit in August. We didn't stop pouring the slab until November. So there was a lot of just waiting. The permits got approved, and we're waiting. And why we needed to do permitting? Any building like this, if it being this size, if it was smaller, much smaller, you don't really need to pull a permit. But this one you did, I did, we did. And the rules are basically that you're going to put a slab that is going to have the building at or above the level of the home. That's the rules. And the building is going to be anchored to the slab to withstand 165 miles per hour wind. So that was the plan, and that's what we followed. Finally, now they're bringing the building down. It's ready to go. And I'm looking at it, I'm saying, how are you going to get that in? Like I said. Well, next picture you're going to see is part of the process. And what you're seeing now, 2 sets of wheels, one on each side of the front. And you're saying to yourself, what are you going to do to pull it from the back? And as you would expect, for being able to move this building, you'd have to be, and where you're having support in the front of the building, and you can have support in the back of the building. So here's the support in the front. And now we're going to basically see, this is the back piece of equipment. I thought it would be like a forklift. This is called a mule. Why do they call it a mule? I'm not sure, but that's what they do. So how this works, looking at it, the bottom portion, now those look like forks, and they are, but they're not. This is not a forklift, so you can't use those to by themselves lift up something. You see the top portion with the blue wrapping, that is nice and tight up against the building. So you've got 2 points of ensuring that you're not putting any undue pressure, on either the bottom or the top or anywhere in between. So that's what the mule is, and you'll see it go along here. Now this is, and he has like a remote control, the gentleman that did this. He has a remote control, and he's remote controlling the mule. Now here's where the first thing came up that was a problem. You see the tree, you see the length of the building. We were going to have to pivot to, if you're looking at the building, to the left. That tree's in the way, or it's very, very close to being in the way. And he's got to make the turn so he can go across the backyard, and you'll see where he comes up the other side of the yard. Now, looking at the red building that is there, that was with this home when we bought it. The size of that really is for example, a building that you don't need to do permitting. It's anchored, but it's ground level. It's certainly not at the level of the home. And, you know, if I was doing the building that size, which would have been useless size-wise, I wouldn't have even had to pull a permit. And that kind of tripled the price of the whole job and tripled the time that it took to get the job done. So anyway, he's working, he's gonna get beyond this point, and thank God I'm praying every step of the way, I'm praying. Okay, we made it around the corner. Now we went across the backyard, and now we're coming up. Now you see that beautiful slab, that beautiful, very expensive slab, that beautiful, very tall slab. And again, it was all related to needing to be at the level of the home. So anyway, what you're seeing is that the building is coming up. He's in the back with the mule and he's pushing it forward. Now, I admit, I'm taking pictures and I'm sweating bullets because I'm worried that he's going to either drop the building or have it turn on its side, very possible. So the mule's in the back, and the mule is on the slab. That's good. As you see, the wheels are not, so we've got some working to get this building in place. Okay, at this point, we're doing okay. Luckily, the mule is on the slab and it's supporting the building, as I said before, in those two locations. He probably should have quit while he was ahead. As you see, the building is not straight on the slab yet, and it's not back far enough. Okay, and this is funny now that we can laugh at it, but at the time it wasn't funny. He knew, and you know, we all make mistakes, so this isn't where you pick on people and so on and so forth. But the bottom line, we knew that this was not good. So as you can see, because the building is not straight, he's trying to use the mule as a forklift. And he's lifting up and being off the slab, he's not at the same level. So it's like and he knows, he said, this is not a forklift, I'm not really should be doing this, trying to lift this building up. So, but he did anyway, because we really had to get it back a little further and we had to move it a little bit to the west. Okay. This is where things started to go wrong. Because he did not have the lower portion of the mule at the same level as the building, what ended up happening is that top section with the blue cover, there was so much pressure putting on the building that it literally went through the whole back of the building. And I'm saying I've been waiting, 5 months for this, and now we've got a really, really big problem. So as you see, that's supposed to be flush up against the vinyl siding, and it's not. If you can look up and say, oh gee, it looks like they cracked the wood. Now, this is the picture inside, and this is where you're absolutely right. They broke the wood, and they broke the back. And now the whole back was made up of two separate pieces of this special wood, and it's like a cork board, but it's an insulation, and you'll also see what's on the outside. But we are screwed. This is not where they can just say, well, kind of get a couple nails and we'll put it back together. I'm like, oh my God, this is they broke the building. It's like you cut your arm off. I don't know. What do you do? Put your arm back on? I don't know. So, there you can see there's the damage on the outside. They took the vinyl siding off, and that whole back portion is made up of special wood that's reflective and also insulation wise. And unfortunately, it's not just one piece, because on the right there's some of it broken, on the left a lot of it's broken, but though both those are going to have to be replaced. So we said, oh gee, and it was where I contacted the wonderful lady. Her name is Christian, and she was great from day one to day 365. But I called her and I said, we got a real problem. They broke the building, they went in the back, they've got to obviously come down and fix the building. So I took the pictures you saw and I sent it to them so they knew exactly what was wrong and what needed to be fixed. But, you know, sometimes people, I guess, don't look at pictures. They, unfortunately, and this I feel was one of the things that was wrong, and I don't look for things that are wrong, but they were like, well, we have more deliveries this week and the beginning of next week. We can't come back tomorrow. I'm like, but this is an installation that's not completed. So, you know, that was another thing I'm saying, oh, now this is going to be another 10 days of delay. That, and the biggest thing in life, if you can control something, if something's wrong and you can fix it, that's cool. But in this case, it's not anything I can do to fix it. And screaming and yelling at people doesn't work, and I don't do that anyway. So they said, okay, we're going to be down in 10 days to fix the building. So they come down 10 days later, and the gentleman that you see, and this is how the building looked when they took all the pieces of wood that were damaged, and even a little bit more on the left side. He started looking at it before this picture, and he's looking at it and going, and this guy builds these buildings. So this is not like, Joe, I'm coming and I know nothing about buildings, but I'm coming anyway. He builds them. But he's looking at the building, he said, you know, this is really damaged. And I'm saying, but I sent all that and very explicitly said, this is what's wrong with the building. And the gentleman with the mule that actually caused the damage, I like the guy, but, you know, one of those things, he knew what was wrong. But here's that guy standing looking at the back of the building going, you know, I didn't bring the wood I need. So he brought no wood. So you're saying, you go to buy tires, and they say to you, well, we can sell you these tires, but we don't have any. We can sell you these tires, we don't have any. And you go, what do? Do you sell tires? So this was one of those, I'm still banging my head saying, why would he come all the way down here? And it's a 4-hour trip, 8-hour round trip, and not be prepared to do anything. They did say, well, we'll go to Home Depot and Lowe's and we'll try to see if we can get what we need, the wood, to work on it. So they left, they came back about 2.5 hours later, and this is an all-day thing, where it would have only taken probably a couple hours to get this in place. They came back, said we went to multiple locations, no wood that of the type that we need. So he said, I guess I'm going to have to come back. And I said, tomorrow, right? And he said, gee, you know, he kind of hemmed and hawed a little bit. And I'm like, please, this is my job. This is my livelihood. Please, I need this building. Because even getting the building in place you'll find that there's a lot more to do than just getting the building on the slab. So the kind of end result is he came back the next day, he got here early, and he actually fixed the building. And it was great.
Good morning. This is Jamie Whitehead. And what you've watched is the fact that my dad or my employee has had such a problem getting this building that we had to put in so that we could have fun with content creation. So, yeah, Jim got in trouble, but we're going to move on, and you're going to see some other interesting things as we build out this building. And one of the biggest areas that's going to be interesting is how are we going to power this building? We did not, and we are not going to run a form of an electrical line from the home. We're going to be off grid. So we hope that you'll be learning some new things that I had to learn before I could do it. But thank you very much. Again, I'm the CEO of All Power, and I'm not going to fire my dad.